Angel start ചെയ്യാം.
Okay, Miss.
Yes, I think we can start.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the fourth session of our online talk series, The Free Voice. As we all know, today we are having the fourth talk of our fortnightly online talk series, The Free Voice, wherein Peet Memorial Training College, Mavelikara, joins hands with the District Institute of Education and Training, Dept, Alappuzha, and the Council for Teacher Education Foundation, CTEF, to organize the event. The Free Voice Talk Series is a fortnightly online event that intends to diligently explore themes and topics that truly matter, and would hand over the mics to the stalwarts in their respective fields to talk to us on contemporary issues related to culture, education, society, arts, environment, technology, and many more. So, without much delay, we're beginning the session. Everything well begun is half done. So let me invite Ms. Ardra Shajan, second year B.Ed student, Peet Memorial Training College, for the invocation.
Lead, guide, lead on, amid encircling gloom, lead thou me, Lord. The night is dark, and I am far from home, lead thou me, keep thou my feet, I do not ask to see the distant sea, one step enough for me.
To welcome the gathering, I invite Ms. Anne Miriam Roy, second year B.Ed student, Peet Memorial Training College.
Good evening, everyone. It is with great pleasure and enthusiasm that I welcome you all to the online talk series on cases and causes that truly matter, presented by Peet Memorial Training College, Mavelikara, in association with District Institute of Education and Training, Alappuzha, and the Council for Teacher Education Foundation. Today, we gather here for an insightful discussion on a topic that holds immense relevance in our rapidly evolving world. I am honored to introduce our esteemed guest speaker for today, Dr. Sebastian Joseph, a renowned historian and former head of the Department of History at UC College, Aluva. Dr. Sebastian Joseph's impressive credentials and achievements speak volumes about his expertise in the field of history. As a triple gold medalist in history and an environmental historian, he brings a unique perspective that transcends disciplinary boundaries. Dr. Sebastian Joseph's dedication to teaching and mentoring has also earned him the highly esteemed Professor M.P. Paul National Award for Best Supervising Teacher in History. His contribution to shaping the minds of future historians is truly commendable. Today's topic of discussion, Ideational Fertility in the Age of Human Gadgetisation, is both timely and thought-provoking. As our society becomes increasingly dependent on technology, it is vital to examine the impact of gadgets on our thinking processes and the fertility of our ideas. Dr. Sebastian Joseph's insights will undoubtedly enlighten us on this matter and provide valuable perspectives. On behalf of the entire team of Peet Memorial Training College, Mavelikara, Dept Alappuzha, and the Council for Teacher Education Foundation, I extend warm welcome to Dr. Sebastian Joseph, sir, to this meeting. I feel grateful to have the presence of Dr. Mariam Matthew, the Principal, Peet Memorial Training College, Mavelikara, in this meeting. I would like to extend warm welcome to Dr. Mariam Matthew, teacher, to this meeting.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you, Miss. Today, we are honored to have with us Dr. Geeta M.S., Chairperson, the Council for Teacher Education Foundation, and Dr. Bindu KJ, the Principal of Dept Alappuzha. Their presence adds immense value to this event and signifies the importance of collaborative efforts and knowledge exchange in our educational community. I take great honor to welcome Dr. Geeta M.S., the Chairperson, Council for Teacher Education Foundation. Welcome, ma'am, to this meeting.
Thank you, Angel.
I'm extremely pleased to welcome Dr. Bindu KJ, the Principal of District Institute of Education and Training, Alappuzha, to this meeting. Welcome, ma'am, to this meeting. I would also like to extend warm welcome to all the faculties of Peet Memorial Training College, Mavelikara, faculties of Dept Alappuzha, and the CTEF members who have worked diligently to make this event possible. Your dedication and hard work have brought us this opportunity to engage in meaningful discussions and gain valuable insights. Last but not least, I extend a warm welcome to all the participants joining us today. Your presence and active participation in this talk series will contribute to a vibrant and enlightening discussion. I encourage you to make the most of this platform and engage with our esteemed speaker and fellow participants. Once again, I welcome you all to the online talk series on cases and causes that truly matter, and I'm confident that today's session on Ideational Fertility in the Age of Human Gadgetisation by Dr. Sebastian Joseph, sir, will be an enriching experience for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Our topic for the day is Ideational Fertility in the Age of Human Gadgetisation. To talk about this giantly important topic, we've got the most eminent person, Dr. Sebastian Joseph, sir. Dr. Sebastian Joseph, a triple gold medalist in history, is an environmental historian with an epistemological positioning anchored in the use of methods that transcends disciplinary boundaries. His book Cochin Forest and the British Techno-Ecological Imperialism in India, published by the Primus, won the 5th Historia Award for the best researched work on modern history of Kerala. He has won the prestigious Professor M.P. Paul National Award for the best supervising teacher in history. Of late, he specializes in film history and is presently a visiting faculty at the Postgraduate Department of Historical Studies, St. Mary's College, Manarkad, Kottayam. General Secretary of Kerala History Congress, Consultant Historian for Cochin Talkies, the Oral History Archives of St. Jesus College, Ernakulam. Consultant Historian for the General Archives Project of Kerala History Museum, Ernakulam, and many more. With immense pleasure and pride, let me welcome Dr. Sebastian Joseph, sir, for the talk. Welcome, sir.
Can I begin?
Sure, sir.
Friends and fellow men, respected senior teachers and teacher administrators in this group. The topic that I have selected for today's talk and the discussion that is to follow, if at all any discussion happen, is on a very valid problem that is confronted not by the academic community alone, but by the entire global community. Everyone confront this issue of human gadgetization and the problems connected with the thought processes. That's why I have given this title as Ideational Fertility in the Age of Human Gadgetization. Before going deep into the problem that I am discussing today, I would like to talk to you for 5 or 6 minutes about a problem that is facing, a serious problem that is confronting the society, which is termed as artificial intelligence. Even though artificial intelligence was a term that is purportedly coined by John McCarthy, he was a computer scientist and a cognitive scientist. And he was also one of the founders of the discipline of artificial intelligence. And he is often credited with the coining of the term artificial intelligence, but that is a disputed problem. But as per some of the documents, John McCarthy is the scientist who is connected with the terminology for the first time, that is artificial intelligence, along with other artificial intelligence scientists like Alan Turing, Marvin Minsky, Alan Newell, and also a galaxy of scientists, including some of the most versatile scientists from the women folk. So when we look at biological intelligence is actually something that is inextricably connected with our brain, that is a human brain, which is functioning based on certain tiny, lightweight, if you call it technically, these are processing units of the brain, which are termed medically as the neurons. A human brain, it is stated in scientific database data bases, contain even more than 1 billion neurons. And these neurons are mutually connected together with the lines named axons. And these axons further, they are they become axon terminals, which are connected again with dendrites. Dendrites is the system that is used to weigh the signals between the neurons. And based on the understanding of the signals between the neurons, we produce certain output in that sense. This is the way in which the cognitive mind of the human brain is working. This is a very complex process. I am just defining it for the sake of taking you to the problem that is being discussed this day. And when you think about this biological intelligence on a similar plane, artificial intelligence also works on a neural unit, which in computer science it is called perceptron. And perceptrons are also tiny lightweight units that are engaged in solving small problems. And these are again connected via weighting lines together, that the importance of them is configured via these weights. So the perceptual understanding of an artificial intelligence mechanism is based on a mechanized or systematized network of intelligence, which can be considered as a replication of the biological intelligence. Why I am saying this is that, I just want to point out that the so-called system intelligence is also part of the biological intelligence with which humans are more connected. And when we go to the deep learning processes, it is a very well-known fact. Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when we go to the deep learning processes, we understand that, the perceptual capacity of the robots is based on, as a matter of fact, is based on a highly advanced perceptual modality, which are functioning in some of the best robots of the world, like you may be knowing about Sophia and also Han, which are both manufactured by a giant firm in the robotic engineering. So people are trying to make this robot grasping more, improving their perceptual capacity, and also their manipulation through the process which all of you are familiar with, which is called gamification. In other words, when you recognize an object and when you process an information in robots, when you go through this higher level of cognitive perceptual understanding of a problem, the performance of the robots will be improved, and that may come near to the performance of a human brain or even more advanced than that. The framework for this may involve something like an attribute matching system that encodes data into such games. Actually, this gamification enables the AI, that is the artificial intelligence, and the robotic tools to utilize the collective intelligence. That means, a multifarious database can be, it can be implanted into a robotic system, improving the grasping capacity of the robots, like the grasping capacity of the actual players are actually attributed to some of the players, which we see in computer games. So now a situation has come. This is a very broad, overview about this AI and its networking system. Just to locate my problem within that. So now a situation has come when the robots are, capacitated to think like humans. This also involves robots interacting with people and other machine to collect data, to process a problem and use it for a variety of purposes. I think you teachers and students of education and educational pedagogy may be better acquainted with technologies like NLP, natural language processing, and NLG, natural language generative one, which generate natural language, which can be used for making interaction very simple between the robots and humans in various sectors, such as, for example, in the healthcare, in the manufacturing sectors, and including other service sectors even. For example, the doctors, they use these robotic sciences and robotic assistants by taking use of the voice commands to direct the robots to execute very scientific tasks during an operation, such as administering even anesthesia or accurately monitoring a platelet count or even blood viscosity and other minute health details. So the robots are seen as engaged in the process of saving individuals inside an operation theater or inside a microscopic or microbiological lab. Similarly, in product quality testing, and robots can be used for checking the material integrity based on how it sounds when poked or gently dropped to the ground. Even it can understand the sound, the variations in sound. So postures, gestures, and moods of people, if such emotive talents are implanted into the robots, definitely you can expect a new robotic world in the future. That is why perhaps Yuval Noah Harari, a most popular historian of the present times in the Sapiens, one of the mostly read history books these days, had opined in Homo Deus, another work, the second work of Yuval Noah Harari, that by 2050 you can expect a community which he himself terms as the useless humans. I can't agree with him totally, but chances are that the thought processing and thinking capacity of the humans will be drastically cut or reduced because of the overwhelming intelligence attributed to the robots, and if the robots turn out to be systems that can have emotions and work on a different plane, that may create ultimately a robotic world which is parallel to the human world, which may happen as a matter of fact, you know, that at a very far away time. Generally, the robotics prefer rationality more than emotions. Emotions are usually considered as robots, or the people who develop robots, as detrimental to rational thinking. But hyper intelligent robots are created with designs which are focused on the cognitive capacities of the robots. And on another plane, the human thinking can be heavily influenced by emotions on certain occasions, as we all know. So combining emotions with cognitive thinking can also be very useful in situations, you know, which are beyond the predictions and control of the humans. So that is why serious works are being taken these days, imbibing robots with emotional quotient, depending on certain factors such as the perceptibility to the surroundings and the cognition. The humans understand the environment through their perceptual, you know, cognitive talent in tracing what is good and what is bad, or what is negative and what is positive, things like that. So such a distinctive, discriminatory kind of, you know, human talent, if it is implanted in the robots, definitely the robots will be creating an altogether different consciousness, which cybernetics and cybernetic philosophers have termed as robotic consciousness. That's, you know, a very confronting idea for us, but definitely the idea of AI and the significant role of the robots may sometimes possess, sometimes may be equipped with the tools which possess a soul, which is actually created within the body of the robot. More importantly, such a development may allow robots to process information like the humans in future. So this is a larger view which I am placing, you know, I just wanted to place it before you. The serious robotic problem or the artificial intelligence scenario that confronts us. I think teachers are very much affected by the changes in the technology. There is often a nonsensical interpretation or analysis that teachers are to become facilitators. And I challenge this view. Robots can be a facilitator, the network, the computer systems can be facilitators, internet can be a facilitator, but teachers are not facilitators like that. The relevance of teachers in the 21st century depends on the fertility of ideas. The teachers are locations where new ideas are born, because the teachers mingle directly with the new generation. They transform their mindset. They read through many books, other works. They make experiments in the laboratory, and they write and they publish papers in learned very serious journals. So it's the onus is on the teachers to confront this problem of human gadgetisation and laws of ideational fertility. Like Martin Heidegger once suggested, that the 21st century's major problem is the problem that is connected with unthinking people who are not thinking. So this is not a widely debated topic, but we are debating on the problems connected with the technology. We are discussing problems connected especially with artificial intelligence. These are all big problems, you know, which we face, but at the same time we talk about that and leave many of the problems that are to be discussed by the teachers. So in this lecture, I am not talking against artificial intelligence, not in favor of artificial intelligence, but I am taking an equidistance, you know, both from artificial intelligence and also from versions against artificial intelligence. And my first question that is posed to you is why this intelligence is called artificial. Is it artificial? If it is artificial, then you cannot believe in an artificial thing. We don't believe in duplicate. But it is a technology that is developed by the humans. No invention, no ideas generate without human intelligence and human imagination. Human imagination is very important in that respect. When you look at the greatest scientist of the 20th century, of the 19th century, it may be very visible before you that, a whole new era was, named after him. And he was in quarantine while he was observing the fall of the apple. If you look at the greatest philosopher, Rousseau, the French philosopher Rousseau, he was again in quarantine while he developed theories about social justice and civil liberty. So these people were thinking in that sense. Along with them, there was also a thinking group, namely the thinking group who were more connected to the technologies, who considered technological gadgets as most important criteria for human progress. And now in these days, human development. So technology cannot be considered as an external factor to the humans. Usually when we consider technology as something which is very external to you. This is also the same problem with nature. When we consider nature, it was a usual understanding and consciousness that, anthropocentric, that is people, the humans are one and the nature is the other to the humans. But now we have corrected that. We are also a part of the nature. We cannot think about a forest ecosystem or an atmosphere. We cannot think about water, air, or trees without the humans. These systems comprise a new socio-ecological system or social architecture in that sense. All are ecologies in one sense, Recently, one historian of India, now he is outside, he is in America. He came with a theory that, you cannot consider humans as humans. Humans are also geological in that respect. So, diversing technology or separating technology from the human and considering technology as something external to you, as technology is external to you in its application, but in its continued application, in technology becoming connected to your daily life, the technology is very much integrated with the human life, the social life. So some of the theoreticians and philosophers of technology have argued that technology also evolves. It is also part of an evolutionary system, like the humans evolved. You know about how the species got evolved through centuries, right from the fantastic theory offered by Charles Darwin in The Origin of Species. So when you look at this evolution as process, you can see that the humans and technology both evolved in relation with one another. You cannot look at technology as something entirely different. So many theoreticians, many scientists and philosophers argue these days that technology in that sense is also part of the biological way, not the mechanical way. So we usually consider technology as something which is actually connected with a mechanical solidarity, external to you, not an organistic solidarity. But latest studies show that, in its evolution, technology used to be considered as something which is also related to this organistic solidarity, the wholeness, the wholesome technology. But there are variations. As a historian of technology and as a historian of sciences, I would like to showcase before you certain points from history, because if you look at some of the technological gadgets which were produced in the prehistoric times, for example, the stone tools, or later developed as the microliths in the Mesolithic period, or even fire was a technology invented in the Upper Paleolithic period, which was basically largely used in the Neolithic period. And these technologies And then coming to the modern technologies like the steam engine or the railways or technologies which are connected with a kind of enhancing of the material life of the people, like for example even the washing machine or the bread toaster technologies. But none of these technologies existed in tandem with the daily life world of the people in its long span. Every time you are using a tool for a purpose, and after that you keep that tool somewhere, and then you are going for your work, for your activities in life. So that particular technology, be it a stone implement or an iron implement or a washing machine, is not with you always. It is not there interacting with you all the time. So what I see as a basic characteristic in artificial intelligence, the computer generated technology or telecommunication technology, is the intimacy that it develops with the people, the humans. Because the intimacy of, say for example, of a telephone, these days most of us are obsessively engaged with mobile phones, and wherever we go, wherever we move, the mobile phone is with us. Even for a splash of second, if the mobile phone is not there, we feel worried about that. So we get connected to a system, that is the mobile phone, which is making you people to get connected with other people and also connected with various forms of services and knowledge forms every day, every second. So the longevity of the relationship between the technology and the human world, for example, the human and the technology, leads to the creation of a state of mind among the humans, an intimate relationship with the technology, which was not there in the case of the stone implements or the iron equipments or the daily implements we use. No toasters, no bread toasters made revolutions.
So here we will be getting a primary alcohol by the reduction.
So what is my point is that when you develop this kind of an intimacy with the technology, with a gadget, you ascribe certain values to the gadget, or the gadget itself receives certain values from the daily life world activities of the human. I read about 5 to 6 years back from The Guardian that a youth in America filed a case in the federal court of America. The petition was for marrying not a human of any variety, but his mobile phone. And this case is not even settled now. But the church in America solemnized the marriage, and the boy and the bride, that is the mobile phone, came in a car and they got married, and it was solemnized. So just imagine about the intimacy factor, just to showcase the intimacy factor. This is a very high point of intimacy that happened in America about 6 years before. And the technology has, tripled or quadrupled in its impact factor on the mindset of the people. Any kind of people, age is not a bar to this. So the first factor that developed from a longevity or the long span of your relationship with the technology is intimacy, how intimate you are with the technology. And the second is the privacy factor that is evolved through the use of this technology. Marshall McLuhan, a great communicologist, once commented about the telephone that was invented by Alexander Graham Bell. And people say that, it was not Alexander Graham Bell, but some other one who invented the telephone. But anyway, the patent was, resolved in favor of Alexander Graham Bell. And I think it was in the year 1876 that the first telephone was used. And you know about the famous conversation of Alexander Graham Bell over the first telephone. Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you. These were the first words uttered during a telephonic conversation in the history of the telephonic messages all over the world. Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you. Mr. Watson was the assistant of Alexander Graham Bell. And hearing this, Watson came and met Alexander Graham Bell, and Alexander Graham Bell was so happy to receive him. This was actually a first message which was sent from a voice which was recorded in a telephone. About this telephone, which was stationed in the corner of a room. I think seniors in this section may be knowing about the older telephones, the black telephone which was stationed in a room corner of a room, and then it had a great ringtone, and actually people got shocked when the telephone rang. About that telephone, Marshall McLuhan said, a telephone is an irresistible intrusion into the privacies of time and space. About the telephone, the stationary telephone. Now with this present telephone, which is actually the custodian, which contains so much of secretive, files that you have, has developed as a private sphere of the individual. That is my second contest. The telephone is a private sphere. In most cases, we are not inclined to share our telephone with some other one, especially the children are not ready to share the telephone to the parents, and parents are not ready to share the telephones with the children, things like that. So telephone contains something very private, intimately connected with that particular person's likes, dislikes, or his hobbies, or his activities and his engagements and his experiences in that sense. Maybe in the form of voice messages or photos or files, things like that. So this communication system is a communication system which makes your inner personality not visible towards others. Especially we are living in a modern world which is often described as a liquid modern by Zygmunt Bauman, a Polish sociologist. Professor Zygmunt Bauman says that what we live today is a liquid modern, not modern, because it is actually a fluidic kind of environment where passions changes, emotions changes, attitudes changes, jobs changes, and circumstances and relationships changes within a matter of maybe for about within 24 hours happens a divorce. These days that is happening. So the new generation, which is obsessively engaging with a private sphere, supposedly a private sphere which they want to maintain as a closed area, the telephone, the mobile phone, or your system contains that. And that is also a larger adaptation can be seen in some other things also. Technology always takes you to a place where, the private sphere is emphasized, not in the public sphere. For example, you see, in the case of theaters, we are now experiencing the OTT releases, and we are watching films individually or in 2 or 3 person groups, not in the theater where lot of socialization happened. So bringing or compressing the particular social activity from a larger terrain of the public to the private. I would like to connect it here with the D-based public sphere, a theoretical position taken by Rutger Habermas in his theory of public sphere. We are having a D-based public sphere, a most D-based public sphere in the postmodern or in the liquid modern times, owing to these kind of secretive spaces which are developed because of technology. That takes you alienated, that makes you alienated from the social sphere. This is the second factor of the new technology. And the third factor is the living relationship that you make with the technology. You engage with the technology. The living relationship. Because you consider the relationship as very live, it is having life. So sometimes, the technologies itself take the shape of a body, embodiment of yourself reflected in the technology, your thinking reflected in the technology. That is why I came to understand about this body factor during the pandemic times from a Hindu advertisement which carried a poster, a full page poster, front page poster advertisement about a sanitizer named Back to V, and it was actually recommended for your gadgets, because the sanitizers that you use for your body is injurious for the gadgets. So this advertisement is very, very semiotically, this advertisement is very important from the perspective of looking at the humanization of the gadget. Now I am talking about the gadgetization of the human, and corollary to that, or on a similar plane, is happening humanization of the gadget also. The gadget itself assuming the characteristic of a human. That is why the advertisement came in 2020 during the pandemic times that Bactovi is the best sanitizer that is to be used for your gadgets, because this sanitizer is good for your gadgets, not for your body. So what emerges in this sense is a tech biostate, a biological enterprise together with the human. So that's why I argue that the tech world is also part of your bio world or biotech. That's why formerly we studied biology, botany, now you have biotechnology, microbiology. Everything is technically adapted to a system where a production of a knowledge which is not within the bounds of biology or botany is happening in its integration with technology, biotechnology. That is why biotechnology is making empires these days. The genetically modified crops, for example, the GM maize, is making revolutions in Africa. Genetically modified cotton, about the state of affairs in India, even then. So, gadgetization of the humans and humanization of the gadgets are also engaging, where you can see the thing which I first argued, the organistic solidarity of the tech world. Now to say what about the artificial intelligence? The artificial intelligence is a very higher kind of intelligence. And now you have an artificial intelligence which is actually a specialized artificial intelligence which is created for generative technology. It generates technologies, generate ideas, generate situations. AI, generative artificial intelligence. And future academics to a greater extent will be decided by this artificial intelligence. And your daily social experience is also influenced by this technology. So everywhere technology is there with you as a friend, as an associate, as a problem solver, and now as a thinker for you. You need not think. You give the direction, and the AI will write the essay or a short story or the film script for you. I have a chat GPT installed on my telephone just to see how it works. Very interesting to see, but only from the existing knowledge pool that is developed by the humans. They are giving this particular essay or short story to you. Beyond that, even now the artificial intelligence is not able to generate something beyond the perceptual modality and imagination of the humans. Even now the human brain is the best. But due to this inextricably interlinked daily life world practices and your association, continued association and longevity with the long relationship with this technology raises another thing, that is the fourth factor of this technology, which is the trust factor. Trust, you believe in that, the trust. So that this technology will narrate for you. Narrativization through language, which is actually based on human intelligence, is now a part of the work of the technology. They narrate things for you. They make the narrative for you. So, taking all these things in one, I make an argument that the robotized world, the robotized social world, when I say about the robots, the robotized world, it doesn't mean that it is the Sophia or the hand that is the robots, but the entire networking connected to this type of an artificial intelligence, which creates a world of social relations and also a scope for new ideas. And how these ideas are generated. In the pre-AI days, how the ideas were generated. And in the age of the artificial intelligence, how these ideas are generated. So, the human civilization is at a cross-section. I'm not saying that I'm not giving you any answers to these questions. It's at a cross section.
Oxidizing agent that can
Technology
be
has
CR03,
reached the status of
so just note down
a powerful ruler.
the reagent that
You can
be
categorize
CR03.
the impact of technology in three phases. That is the introductory phase, the permeation stage, and the power stage. In the first instance, the technology is introduced. While the technology is introduced, it is not getting connected to the entire of the population over the globe. For example, for the first time when computers were invented, these computers were used only for great nation states, especially for wars,
We will be able to
and sending secret codes like about the whole room station, the computer which is called the ENIAC. And in the second stage, that is the permeation stage, this particular network got expanded.
ethanoic acid will be-
Hey, all these things happened in the 20th century. Don't go to the prehistoric period.
So these are the
In the second stage, that is the permeation stage, the technology expanded to a greater level where the universities, the medical institutions, banking firms, big business firms started using this particular technology of the computer network technology.
so that we will
And finally, in its power stage, where it takes the characteristic feature of power, it dictates, it rules. The technology assumes the characteristic of a ruler in the power stage, and this is the stage we are living in, the power stage of
how can we number the
computerized technology or network world or artificial intelligence. The power stage. Languages is defined by technology. Emotions are decided by the technology. Which books you want to read are decided by Amazon. Which commodities you want to buy are decided by advertising firms which bank on this artificial intelligence. So on the whole, we can see a parallel robotized world that is fast emerging in our modern world. And recently I read that even a new branch of psychology emerged, which is called the robotic psychology. There are people who specialize in robotic psychology, where new types of emotions, how that can be transmitted to a robot. People are thinking like that. So the intimacy and the living reality in the technological paradigm, that is, your life is modulated, controlled by tech systems, refrain you to a greater extent from the sociability of the pre-artificial intelligence world. I am not saying that this is an AI world, but things are almost like that. So for example, I can tell you that, just for the case, I am placing this before you. Imagine that you are doing a PhD, you are going to a library, you are sitting in the library working there for hours, or in the lab for hours and days, in the field for hours and days. You are contacting people, you are reading books, you are checking documents, you are testing your hypothesis in various forms, you are making this experiment and that experiment after experiments, So in this particular discursive terrain, academic discursive terrain, lot of social interaction is happening. For example, if you go to the library, you read the book, and by the way, you are in the canteen, you meet a friend and discuss about the arguments of the book, and 2 or 3 people come together. Such social groups, propel an idea within you that you get an idea when you reach home. So the ideational fertility is very social in that sense. Ideational fertility needs the social cohabitation of the humans. Now that is the greatest threat to the world. People are not thinking. It's not their fault. They are not thinking. Why they are not thinking? They are not thinking because they are not having an occasion to think, an opportunity to think. So the socialization, a decrease in the socialization or dip in the socialization leads to the privatization of thoughts, where your thoughts are managed, controlled by technologically networked world, where those thoughts are compressed within the private sphere, which is not having the social experience of the public. The public sphere is diminishing in itself. Whereas you may say that, contrary to that, there is in the social networking or social media, there are a lot of things happening. Of course, such type of thinking is also happening. But that is devoid of the human element in that sense. Because that I experienced during the pandemic period when I went to the class to my college. I went to UC College and stood there in my class, and I looked at the chairs and all the tables there inside the PG classroom where my students used to sit and we used to chat. I went to the library, nobody was there. So that period taught me the importance of the socialization process and the genuineness of the socialization process that trigger ideas. So ideational fertility, no doubt, is connected with your experience in the social world, whereby you are connected to the humans on a large scale. So here, what happens is that you create ideas, but those ideas are not, in some sense you consider those ideas are not weighty ideas. So the real ideational fertility is suffering because of the gadgetization of the human mind, the routinized gadgetization of the human mind, because technology has reached the power stage. Technology has become a powerful agency determining the nature of knowledge and the scope of its transmission. So this is the problem that is connected with the humanization of the gadgets, and also initially it was the gadgetization of the human. So a most terrific situation exists in the social world, which is connected with the thinking world of the society. How people are thinking, I'm not saying that people are thinking in a negative manner these days, but the closure of certain spaces leads to the degeneration in thinking, the quality of the thinking, the quality of the ideas people generate, which are also connected with the emergence of a business world, a world of capitalism, which determine the uses of this technology. That is why even now we are using this platform, online platform, to interact on this kind of a problem. So now that is why people say about the platform capitalism. So capitalism is also to be taken into account, where the social relations and social practices are also controlled by people who generate ideas, technological ideas, which hijack the original critical thinking of the pre-artificial intelligence days or pre-mobile phone world. I must qualify that as a pre-mobile phone world. That is also happening. And at the same time, the threat of artificial intelligence is that, in the coming days, even now, from some of the journals I came to understand that, some of the AI technologies which were introduced by great scientists have failed in recognizing the black, because they always identify only the white. So such a kind of racial segregation may also happen with the unregulated and indiscriminate use of these technologies, which take away the public from you and make you more private, and compressing your ideas and thoughts, which produce a knowledge which is based on a very narrower scale. Thank you very much.
So the Ag will be precipitated. So we would be able to obtain a white silver mineral plus H2O plus NH3. This will be the reaction for volumes.
Invigorating session. Thank you very much. Now it's the time for the discussion. If any member of the audience has any questions or queries, this is the time for you to ask.
Silver nitrate. So just write if they start with the lab practical side. start with organic analysis? I think you have to do one organic analysis, one titration, and one salt analysis. These are the three practicals that you have to come across in for chemistry. This exam will be for 6 hours. So these are the three tests.
I hope there isn't any questions. Moving on. Now for the vote of thanks, I invite Ms. Navina Sharma, first year B.Ed student, Peet Memorial Training College.
ഹലോ ഓഡിയബിൾ ആണോ?
Yes, Navina.
ഓക്കെ, ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ് ടു ഓൾ. എന്നിൽ ഏൽപ്പിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന കർത്തവ്യം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എല്ലാവർക്കും നന്ദി പറയാനുള്ളതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ ഇവിടുത്തെ പ്രോഗ്രാമിൻ്റെ റിസോഴ്സ് പേഴ്സണായ ഡോക്ടർ സെബാസ്റ്റ്യൻ ജോസഫ് സാറിനാണ് നന്ദി പറയുന്നത്. വളരെ നല്ലൊരു ഇൻഫർമേറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് സാർ പറഞ്ഞത്. ഐഡിയേഷണൽ ഫെർട്ടിലിറ്റി ഇൻ ദ ഏജ് ഓഫ് ഹ്യൂമൻ ഗാഡ്ജിറ്റൈസേഷൻ എന്ന ടോപ്പിക്കിലാണ് സാർ നമുക്ക് ഒരുപാട് വിവരങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞു തന്നത്. അതെല്ലാം തന്നെ വളരെ ഇൻഫർമേറ്റീവ് ആയിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ സാറിൻ്റെ വിലപ്പെട്ട സമയം ഇവിടെ വന്ന് നമുക്കിങ്ങനെ നല്ലൊരു ക്ലാസ് തന്നതിന് സാറിന് ഒരുപാട് നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. നമ്മുടെ അടുത്ത് പറയുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ പീറ്റ് മെമ്മോറിയൽ ട്രെയിനിങ് കോളേജിൻ്റെ നമ്മുടെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പളായ മറിയാമ്മ മിസ്സിനും ഒരുപാട് നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. കാരണം ഓരോ പ്രോഗ്രാമും അത്രയും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസോടെയാണ് മിസ് നമുക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു തരുന്നതും അതിനകത്തേക്ക് നമ്മളെ മോട്ടിവേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് എൻ്റർ ചെയ്യിക്കുന്നതും. CTEFന്റെ ചെയർപേഴ്സണായ ഡോക്ടർ ഗീത മിസ്സിനും നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. നമ്മൾ ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാം എല്ലാം ചെയ്യുന്നത് ആലപ്പുഴ ഡയറ്റോട് ചേർന്നിട്ടാണ്. അപ്പം ഡയറ്റ് ആലപ്പുഴയുടെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പളായിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഡോക്ടർ ബിന്ദു മേമിനും നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാമിന്റെ കോർഡിനേറ്ററായ നമ്മുടെ വേലായുധൻ സാറിന് നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. പ്രോഗ്രാമിന് ആദ്യം തന്നെ വെൽക്കം പറഞ്ഞ് നമ്മുടെ B.Ed സെക്കൻഡ് ഇയർ B.Ed വിദ്യാർത്ഥിയായ ആൻമറിയത്തിന് നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. ദെൻ മീറ്റിങ്ങിൽ പങ്കെടുത്ത എല്ലാ ടീച്ചേഴ്സിനും ഫാക്കൽറ്റീസിനും നമ്മുടെ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിനും ഫസ്റ്റ് ഇയർ സെക്കൻഡ് ഇയർ B.Ed സ്റ്റുഡൻസിനും എല്ലാവർക്കും നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. നന്ദി.
Thank you, Navina. Thank you everyone for your presence and participation. Thank you very much.
The silver line, the precipitate
Thank you.
will be shown like this. So that's why it is represented with the down arrow. The silver will be precipitated. Silver will be precipitated. Feeling test. Feeling solution A consists of aqueous copper sulfate and